I'll bring the palms together, prayer position over the heart. And we'll join our voices in one sound of peace, one Om. Take a deep breath in. And relax and open your eyes. Sorry, I went a little soft initially, and I think it should have come out stronger on the Om. That's literally what goes through my mind. I'm like, yeah, it was pitched too high and then too low. And then I started, but then someone else came harder, so I would try to match them, and then that was literally in a split second. I'm like, oh.
Just mess the ball.
Yeah, that's all you do is mess the ball. The problems of a yogi, trying to figure out the Om. It's not a bad, yeah, not a bad problem to have.
How's everybody doing? Doing good? Cool. Relatively speaking, all that's going on in the world. Any questions, comments, concerns, anything to jump into before we jump in?
You and Chris got a challenge going?
Yeah, we were about 6 months ago, we were like, let's do a beard contest. And I was like, I'll give you 5.5 months head start.
5 months. 5 months right here.
This is like a month.
This is 2 weeks. I literally have to shave every day.
You ever see that Homer Simpson? You guys watch that? He shaves and immediately, right when he stops, comes right back. That's John. Yeah, no, he's just trying to encroach on my beard turf.
Competition.
Yeah. Yeah.
Throw it over my shoulder.
Listen, if we can't live it, we got to at least look like it.
Any Kill Bill fans? You guys remember? Grandmaster. There's a point else.
No, just life in general. Everyone's good. Everyone's doing their thing.
I'm so blessed in my part of heaven here. I love where we live. I love my neighborhood. I'm just so grateful. And even driving here, it's so good. I'm coming down to the beach and seeing the beach in the north end. I love this place.
Did you take short drive?
No, I live near the Pungo area.
Oh, cool.
Highgate Greens, and it's just a one shot all the way down this way. It's such a nice drive, and I have my windows down. I was telling Gigi, the windows are down. I'm like, why is everybody having their windows down? It's so nice, and then all the trees. I'm like, well, I don't know that COVID.
Yeah.
I was like, husband, get to the beach. Look at the kids. What are you doing? Relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel the same. I live over there, offshore drive, Cape Story by the Sea. And it's a little slice of heaven. Walk over, got the bay, come back, shot down 5 minutes. I'm at the beach, surfing, right back. Yeah. Cool neighbors, awesome people. And it really, this time kind of highlights that, highlights the area where you live and are you really happy with where you are? And because that's kind of where you are. It's interesting. Yeah. Anyone else on the other end of the spectrum? Right? I was like, careful, Jade. You're going you're going hard on the good. Generally, I'm pretty sure not everyone's feeling that. Yeah. No. Good. All right, we'll roll. Let's do this. We're going to get right into journal writing and sharing with the 7 spiritual laws, unless you had something wise to say.
Yeah, I think I'll try to find something wise to say. But I think just highlighting what Jade said is important, because ultimately we have a choice. We ultimately have a choice. Every single moment we have a choice. Even though we don't think we have a choice, ultimately we have a choice in every moment to choose one or the other, right? To choose something that's going to empower us or something that's going to disempower us, something that's going to be rooted in love or something that's going to be rooted in fear. And guys, it is a practice. It is a practice. It doesn't just happen. we're not taught this practice, which is really strange to me, but it's sad, right? We're not taught that it is a practice. What we are taught is that our circumstances, our environment dictates our feelings. And so we constantly chase shifting and manipulating our external environment so that we get it just right so that I create that feeling. Right? And how often does that work out? How often do you get all the things in your life just organized perfectly, everything's set to get the feeling? Yeah, rarely if ever, right? We get it just set, just perfect, everything's set, we feel good, and then something shifts. Because the nature of our environment, the nature of the world is that.
You're muted. Okay, cool.
Is instability and change. And it's constant change. So if we're trying to get a feeling based off manipulating our external environment, if you have kids, this is a great example of it. How often do you get your kids just right so everything's perfect? Right? Especially when they're young, it's like a shit show. They literally are, one night you sleep and 5 nights you don't. One night you sleep and then 5 nights you don't. Right? You go through right now. Exactly. Just put your shoes on, please. I'm just trying to get out the door. It's been an hour.
Yeah.
Right? It's constant. So the key, right, the highlight that I want to make what Jade said is that we have the choice to be an optimist, right? We have the choice to start to practice, and I gotta say this again, it's a practice. It doesn't just happen. Right? We have to practice focusing on what's going to create the feeling that we want, right? Because what we focus on creates a feeling. The feeling that we hold to is how we experience life. What we hold, the thought we hold in our mind on a consistent basis is a direct relation to how we experience life. Direct. So we have to be the guards of our attention. We have to hold to what we choose to flow through our attention. Because right now, especially, I mean, there's always something. But think about it right now. You listen to mainstream media, you want to lock yourself in your closet with a mask on, right? You want to take a shower with a mask on, right? It's so intense right now. Or you're like, it's constant, right? And so we have to guard what we hold, what we decide to bring to our awareness, because what we focus on creates the feeling, creates emotion, right? And that's the experience. That's our direct experience of living. And so if we can get into the little things, like appreciating driving here, appreciating being here, appreciating your family, appreciation, right? Appreciation is the antidote for all of the negative feelings that we don't want. We get into gratitude, we get into appreciation, we start to notice the things in our life, and it will radically change your world, radically. But it is a practice. We can't just do it once and think it's going to happen, right? And we're not taught this. It's the craziest thing. We're not taught this essential skill of living and being happy, to being able to systematically focus on what it is that you really love in your life. Because guess what, guys? When we learn to do that work, guess what we start to see in the world? More things that are drawn to that. It's the law of attraction idea, right? Whatever we hold to is what we see in our world. And it's simple if we understand the science behind it. It's part of the brain, right? The reticular activating system of the brain that says, hey, what is it that's most important to you? What do you want to pay attention to, right? Because in any moment, you have billions of bits of information coming at you. And one of the main parts of the jobs of the brain is to delete most of that shit because it's not important, right? It's not important, but the brain has to decide what is important to let through your awareness, right? It's kind of the guard of your attention. And so if we tell that RAS receptor, pay attention to this, the RAS receptors, pay attention to this because this is important to me, then we start seeing it. And it doesn't matter what it is, guys. Use the example of buying a car. The last time you bought a car, right before you bought that car, before you even knew the make and model and color, you didn't see that car anywhere. But the moment you decided on the make, the model, and the color, all of a sudden you saw it everywhere in your environment, all over the place, right? This happened a couple years ago. We bought a white Toyota Highlander, right? It's my wife's car. Guess what I see all over the place all the time? Because it's my wife. My wife drives that and the kids are in there, right? It's a really important car to me. Really important. My RAS receptors are like highlighted around any white SUV looking car that's even similar to a Toyota Highlander, right? I see them everywhere, guys, because my RAS receptors are really on fire. They're like, pay attention to that, pay attention to that, pay attention to that. So I see them all over the place. Before that, I didn't even know they were there. I didn't see them anywhere. They weren't important to me. Does that make sense? But so car is an example of that, but that goes for everything. What do you want your brain to pay attention to? Appreciation, happiness, the things that light you up, right? We pay attention to that and we'll see more of that in our environment. That's how the law of attraction works. We start to pull ourselves into those experiences and see those things.
Chris, you said that before you met your wife, you literally envisioned what she would look like and you wrote it down. I did the same thing for my husband. Like, what would that look like for me? And sure enough, it's what you say. It's your affirmations you put in your head.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually powerful beyond measure. It's
Mm-hmm.
beautiful.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that thinking because we do have a choice. I could have been in my car with my windows up, like, oh, I've got to go to this yoga thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was like windows down. Oh, and the message that I even heard this morning was, love is kindness. I was just looking through and it's just like, I love where I live. I love this place. I love the people I'm around. I love my children, my husband. I love coming here. It's just amazing. And so I already am vibrating that. I already feel it. It's awesome.
It's awesome.
I get to choose
Mm-hmm.
how we think.
Yeah. And this is the practice this is what you guys are doing. Right? This is why you're here. You thought it was to learn up dogs and down dogs. But,
Gotcha.
But the reality is the work that you're doing, why you're here, is to teach people that they have a choice. To teach people that they have a choice. The asana practice, what we do on our mats, gets them to get still. Right? We use the body as a catalyst to get the mind to just shut the hell up, right? To stop. And then you can start to it's Inception, the movie? And then you can start to drop little pebbles into their mind, Inception, right? You can start to help them realize that they have a choice in any moment to create the feeling that they want, not manipulate all the externals. You can do a little manipulating the externals, don't get me wrong. You can change if you're in an environment you're not happy with, your relationship you're not happy with, your work you're not happy with, whatever you're not happy with, change that shit, right? Make the small choices that start to shift that for you. Now it's because honestly, we only have 3 options, right? We can walk away from it, we can change it, or we can accept it completely. That is it. Those are the only 3 options that we have in any situation, whatever we feel stuck in. That's it. You can walk away from it, you can change it, or you can accept it 100%. That's it, right? And so if we understand that, so what you guys are doing is so beautiful because you're teachers, you're going to move into the world. You're going to use up dogs and down dogs to help people get still, but they're going to start to have radical transformation on the mat, and they're going to want to talk to you about it. And what you can simply help them with is this idea of you always, always, always have the choice. Right? What do you want to focus on? Good with that?
That's going to be the theme of this weekend because we're going to talk about it. It's what you're going to journal about. We're going to have a bigger kind of workshop on Sunday about it. And we are going to speak in like grandiose terms, like whatever it is that you want, you can manifest it. It's your birthright. And it's important to frame it in the simple things of like right now, like what we're saying is it's happening all the time. You're doing it all the time because you're choosing to focus on things in your environment that are going to highlight what you focus on creates your feelings. So if you haven't been feeling good, notice what you're fucking paying attention to. See, and I mean it sincerely, you got to be on guard for your attention because there's a battle. It's like the battlefield of the mind. Everything is trying to grab your attention. Like, I forget how many marketing messages we get a day. I think you were one that used to say that. It was like hundreds of thousands of messages a day that bombard your awareness. And my point is, when you wake up and you start scrolling through social media, that is not helping you live your best life, period. Unless you're going in to produce something that says, hey, this is how I feel, boom, done, and you put it down and you walk away. You waking up in the morning and checking your emails is not helping you live your best life, because emails by nature are not designed to be checked every single day, 100 times a day. But what's happening, it's just super important because it's tying into what John is saying. What happens then, I see one email that, it triggers me. And now I'm not present here. I'm in the email formulating my response that I won't do for hours, but I've allowed it to capture my attention, capture my focus, and take over how I feel, because now your brain, with the negativity bias, is focusing on all the worst case scenarios that could happen. You guys see how we can so quickly spiral into these states of like slightly anxious, slightly depressed, unhappy, and you don't know why? Right? You ever felt like, man, I just don't feel good. And if I look back at my day, there's no event that was it, but I don't feel good. What's happening is just you're allowing your attention to be taken by these little bits of information. Someone else's agenda becomes your thought process. Someone else's priority becomes your fire that you have to put out. And most of the time, it's not the case. Yes, depending on your job, depending on your work, depending on things, kids, and all that stuff, there's fires that come up. But the vast majority is stuff that we're choosing to focus on, that we don't have to focus on, and that are dramatically affecting how we feel any given day. It's just the truth. You don't need to be updated every minute about what's going on in the world. Right? But this is what people are doing with this 24-hour news cycle. Every single minute, they got to figure, all right, what's going on with COVID? Okay, what's happening with the protests? Okay, what's happening with the weather? Oh, what is it that I can focus on that would make me a little more anxious than I already am? But because and it doesn't matter what news you're listening to. I'm not on like one end of the spectrum or the other. Their mission is to get you to pay attention to what they're saying. And they know that you, in your brain, will pay attention more to the negative stuff than the positive stuff. It's just the reality of how our brains work, and they hacked in, they know. So my point is, occasionally, I got to figure out what's going on in the world. And then I put it aside and I live my life. And I focus on what's going to help me in my life on this day. And that's this is what we do in the morning. If you guys, raise your hand if you've been focusing on, or if you've been doing the Awaken Life Yoga Academy and all the challenges and stuff. Yeah, that's okay. It's all right. So not really. That's really good stuff that we're teaching in that. And what it is in the morning, if you haven't done the Awaken Life Formula Challenge, do that one first, because it's very specifically, how do I start my day every single day? And what can I do to prime my brain to focus on the things that are going to support me in my life and what I want in my life and what my values are and what my priorities are, so that I start the day primed. And this is what we're talking about. It's law of intention, law of creation, a law of attraction, however you want to say it. All it's saying is what I put my attention to grows in my life. What I take my attention away from goes away out of my life. It's super simple. But not understanding this and then allowing the 24-hour news cycle and such access to everybody's opinion. It is literally, it's poison for us. And what's super, super important, I'll get to in just 1 second, is just to be on guard, like now more than ever, all the time, but now more than ever, to be on guard with what you're paying attention to, because it has a very real effect on how you feel and where you're going in your life, period.
This week, same feeling my husband was just like, and what I noticed when he gets up in the morning, before he does anything, he's starting to do and I said, hey, do me a favor. I said, this week, just as soon as we get up, drink a glass of water, come meditate with me on the back porch. I'm trying to do my homework. And this week, literally since now I'm gone today, and I already saw all the kids, and I'm like, please do something. But it's an addiction, and I see it in my friends too. It's like when we went on vacation, before they're going to bed at night, everybody's on their phones. And it's like, gosh, just to unplug from that. Like I'll say, hey, I'm going to go chat, like our bunko group or something. I'll go check, then I'll get lost, like you're saying, Chris, like getting lost in all this other stuff. Yeah. Where it's like, if we can go back to the simpler days and don't get on that phone first thing in the morning, get up, have a glass of water. Even my son. I saw him trying to go and get something this morning, and I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Please drink that water, go to the bathroom. It's just like, I'm directing my household to stay off the technology. It is so, I feel like it's killing people's minds.
It's highly addictive.
It is addictive.
Highly addictive. This is like literally unfettered access to the liquor cabinet. In the very same way, it's the same, it's like for kids, unfettered access to a liquor, like literally, to open it up, take a drink anytime you want.
It's horrible to watch with teenagers.
It's crazy. And
I mean, I know y'all were talking about, did you just put your shoes on? That's kind of funny.
because, right,
17-year-old and a 20-year-old. Like, that needs to be like.
wait till we're there, right?
Yeah, like what you're saying, if you could teach that to teenagers and college-age students, like, it's really very real. I'm sure all of you who have children that age, it is unbelievable what you just said about a liquor cabinet. It's like there's heroin in this thing.
It is. It's, for the brain, it's the same thing. Same mechanism that's happening.
It runs on the same signals. And you get the neurochemical release, dopamine drip.
And the depression, like the instant, like, oh God, I missed something, like the FOMO, and I mean, they can't even put it down. It's attached to their.
Yeah.
I'll have friends come over with their teenagers, and I'm like, is that attached to your hand? I mean, they're taking selfies while they're talking to you. I'm like, what are you doing? Can you put it down? It's so I'm actually, I teach by going, let's put that down. You know, let's make the awareness and put it down. And they look at me like, nobody tells me to put it down. I'm like, put that down. But I feel like that is kind of like maybe for me, my family and my friends, I'm not shy to say, can you put that away? Let's unplug from that. Let's be present to like the birds. Like when I was talking to my mom the other day, she's like, where are you? I hear all these birds. I'm like, I'm in my backyard. She's like, oh, that's great. So it's like, yeah, I want that. I want to listen to the birds. I don't want to listen to all this nonsense, this propaganda, this message. It's what we decide.
Yeah.
You know? But the teenagers talking to me and taking a I'm like, what is happening?
It's craziness.
Yeah, it starts young too. Like we have a friend who at 7, their kid already had a cell phone. Right. And listen, there's no judgment if you're like your kid has a cell phone, whatever. Like and I don't know because I'm not there. My oldest is about to turn 6 this month, and my youngest is like 4.5. And I don't know when that point is. Like I imagine they start venturing out, and you feel like a cell phone is like helps you keep connected and safe. They know where they are, and you can always reach them and all that stuff. But then I'm like, man, we've come this long as a species without having that direct, like. You all remember when you were young? And I was like, Mom, I'll see you in the evening, I guess. And she has no idea where I'm going, what I'm doing, right? No connection at all. And here we are. It worked. So at some point, I guess I don't know what the answer is, quite honestly, but I know the science is showing like it's addictive. It's highly addictive. Social media, by design to be addictive. By design to be addictive. You knew exactly what was going on with the social element of it and what we need as these social creatures to, like, you post something. Have you ever felt that? You post something and no one likes it? No one comments on it, right? And all of a sudden your sense of self is diminished because you put something on this fake world and no one said anything to you about it. Right? I know, I've been there. I totally get it. But it's like, I also know that like that shit is crazy and it's not helping me in my life at all. You could literally, and don't do this because for our sake, because we like you to be in social media because we produce. I'm just kidding. I am kidding. I'm not kidding. Totally not kidding.
Just consume our stuff.
Yeah,
Don't know what else.
Yeah. But like the reality is like you could unplug from it and your life actually wouldn't change. You might even actually be happier from it. You could actually be better.
Social media stuff, it's like people post most of the time, like, oh, we're happy, or this, or that. They don't go, oh my God. And so it's so fake.
No,
and
exactly.
So
people,
they have like the studies that say that people get more depressed when they go on social media because they're like, everybody's having a great time. I'm like, that's not real reality. That's not, and then of course a couple of those videos are like, oh my God, this is horrible.
It's crazy.
But it is. It's such
Denise, did you want to say something?
Well, there's twofold because right now with the isolation still, because of COVID or it is a connection. It's a means of connecting for people that are alone. Rome all
Yeah,
the
you're right.
time. I went in and I unfollowed like 90% of my feed because I want to stay connected with what's happening with you guys. I want to get your feed on Facebook, and I want to get the feed from my other health organizations from my feed book. But I had stopped watching the news and stopped the social media and started looking at this in the morning, and I still do my exercise and my meditation and my journaling. And there were a couple of weeks that I was just like, oh my God, like I'm floating, like Jade is today. And then last week, we heard that people are leaving my company, they're going to start layoffs, COVID is, the result of the economy is starting to hit. Fear set in big time. And I remember just yesterday I got up and I was like, I just want to be happy. And I stopped and I said, then just be fucking happy. Like, just stop. But I'm not saying that this morning I woke up with fear again. So it is the reality of this, when I came in here, I was like, I thought we were coming out. I thought we were getting grand. I thought everything,
Everyone's coming back.
opening, we're back. I live in my little bubble, and I live in a protected bubble. No news, no, like gym, I meditate. But there's a real thing happening. And if my job is at risk, that's reality.
Yeah.
Like I had to sit down and look at my finances and start making some decisions because I have to do what's best for me and unfortunately my family.
Yeah.
But I mean, so there's a fine line. It's that I caught myself and I was like, no, don't go there. Don't go there. It's a bad place to be. Social media, I can't stand social media, what you said. It is so fake. I can't handle it. I unfollowed so many people, but it's my connection to other people.
Yeah.
So there's that line.
The reality is that it's not, forgive me, because I think I went down like towards a space that I don't actually believe. And everything is a tool, and any tool can be utilized for good or for bad, period. Social media isn't the problem. The way in which we use it is a problem. The way in which we depend on it is a problem. Alcohol in and of itself is not bad. The way in which people use it or abuse it, that ends up being what ends up being bad. Like at tinctures back in the day, like alcohol were actually very healthy and like medicinal, right? Anything at all, anything can be healthy or harmful. So I don't mean to demonize social media in that way. Because honestly, there's like people I get to connect with that I would never see in my life ever. And I get to see, like we have a friend who was here, moved to Tacoma, Washington. And I get to see what he's doing. And like Jeff Sargent, right? He's an awesome dude. And I get to stay connected with him because of social media. And I catch myself scrolling, doing nothing, getting fired up. Because what do you highlight? All the shit you don't agree with, right? And all these people that have these big opinions about things that you're like, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. Let me read that one, right? You get sucked in, right?
It's not that it's bad, it's perfect. How you said it.
It's just the tool. It's all it is, the tools. Yeah.
For me, I manage social media accounts, so I have to be present there way more. And particularly right now, I don't want to be on it,
Right.
but I have to be because it's my job. And so I'm constantly just like finding myself so frustrated of not wanting to pick up the phone, not wanting to do those things, but having to check on all the things. And then it's so easy to just get caught and go down like 15 different rabbit holes and hours
Yeah.
on. And I haven't used that hour the way I wanted to at all. And I'm fucking pissed.
Like Denise, what I heard you say, which I think is really fantastic, is you're doing the work because you made the choice to be happy. Today it's a little harder, but you have to. I think that's for everyone, right?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, Phil wants to say something. Hold on, let me turn up my volume. Go ahead, Phil.
Everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Good morning. Wish I could be there with you guys. So I'm so glad you said using social media as a tool and didn't completely demonize it. It's got a lot of negatives, but I've noticed this because I almost went off of it again. I was like, screw this stuff. I'm tired of seeing all this. But I realized that I had choices to make. Talking about choices as well. Like I had the choice of who I'm following. So I'm like, wait a minute, I'm doing this to myself. So, I look up to people like I follow Elon. I like to follow The Rock, Warren Buffett types, like other entrepreneurs, like people that have been told their entire life, hey, you're not going to be able to do this. But now they're the world's best at what they do. I have started to throttle who I follow, which is people are, oh, did you unfollow me? Yeah, it's not a numbers game. This is a tool that I'm using about how people that I want that motivate me. So sorry, like you're posting, the same picture of you in a bathing suit on a beach every single day with no content that's like, or you're, and I've gotten rid of all the people that are, I understand the word influencer. They're like, oh, look at me, look how pretty I am. I get it. Like, but how you add no quality or no value to social media. You're actually making it worse. And like, I've got into a couple of these people and I'd say like 12 out of 10 times I've won so far. So like, you're making, what do you call it? You're adding to the problem. You're showing somebody something they don't have, which is probably not yours to start with, or it's fake. And then you're not showing people how to obtain that goal. So those people gone. I've gotten rid of half, and I still have another half to go to. So like social media can be very positive, but it's up to you if it is or not. It's up to who and how you follow, and like who you keep on that list. Because like it's actually helped me. It went from being like, man, look at all these people. Like, wait a minute, hold on, let me follow a different crowd. And I actually, instead of seeing like all these like terrible pictures, if you would, I won't like start getting into that of like how some of these people post. I'm seeing like I'm waking up and I'm like, okay, cool, yeah. What'd Warren say today? What's The Rock doing today? What's what are these other performers that are top of their game that started with nothing? What are they doing today? And it's starting to help reshape as well. Like I've connected with one of the doctors of the books that I'm reading because of social media. The dude was like, I was like, hashtag blue mind. He was like, hey, hashtag what's up? I'm the doctor that wrote the book. Let's talk. And I was like, what? What just happened? And now we have dialogue. Like it's, as I have changed social media for myself, it's changed like everything online for me as well.
Yeah, and so you like some of you may be like, why are we still on this subject? This is the law of attraction. What he just said is exactly right. And
it's changing who's in my life and how I think right now.
Yeah, exactly right. Because it's all focus. It's all focus. It's all like what you're holding your attention to. And that it's so simple. What you hold your attention to will grow in your life. And so it's a real good question. Unfollowing people, I'm going to mute you again, Phil. I have the power. Yeah. So what the question is, what do you want to grow in your life? What do you want in your life that you want more of? And what do you not want of? And it's a very simple equation. Pay more attention to that and less attention to that. And on a social level, what Phil said so perfectly is that means I can unfollow the people that don't like provide that environment for me. It's not saying I'm going to like sugarcoat everything and only follow the people that think like I think. It's not what we're saying. It's saying I'm focusing on the people who are right now where I want to be. It's modeling. I get to see them, what they're doing, and I get to then they get to share their light with me. I don't mean like energetically they're sharing their light, like literally their words, how it's processed, and what I see is literally like light in the brain, right? Proteins and light, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I hear that information and it's processed, and it changes me. And so following more of those people and looking at that, like it's all law of attraction. It's all like it's so simple, but it's so valuable. And my point behind going like where I started with this is, yes, you can create whatever you want in your life, but on what we have to get back to and this grandiose idea of the law of attraction and creating abundance and whatever that means for you, a relationship or money or job or kids or whatever it is, it all comes back to the daily actions we take and what we're paying attention to on the daily. That is how you take the grandiose and make it granular. What am I doing right now? What am I doing right now? What am I doing right now in the morning? Is this helping me? Or is this not helping me? Right? And like we said, because it's addictive, you may need to take some measures to actually like disconnect from that to rewire the brain so that you are not so fixated on whatever it is, whatever the addiction is. Right now we're talking about the phone and social media because we have unfettered access like we've never had before. Does that make sense? Cool. I just want to bring it back. Like we're still on subject. We're still on par. Like we're still having the conversation that we need to be having. I think we should start journal writing and sharing that. Cool. All right, let's do it. So let's pull out your 7 Spiritual Laws book. And we're talking about the law of intention and desire is how he describes it. Effort. Page. I'm trying to figure out the page that is on. Yes, 67. I have an extra book if anyone needs it. I never know when, like, some of you read it immediately and you have it, but it was a week ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Okay, cool. Yeah. And if you're ever talking to me and all, oh, Amanda, you're really showing your true colors now. Everyone, Amanda, she had her phone because she was reading the book on her phone. She's like, I promise, I'm not on social right now. Yeah, and if you're ever talking to me and all of a sudden I just go to the computer and start typing, I'm not.
He's on social media.
First, I'm on social media, and second, I'm also typing in what you all are saying to the people on Zoom because they can't hear you. Yeah, so if you need,
You can start journal writing.
There's a super important meal that I had last night that I needed everyone to know about. So you're writing about the law of intention and desire.
Yes.
It relates to you in your life right now. Yeah, you could take that in a million different directions of like what I'm doing daily that's not or is, or where I want, what I really want, what does my best life look like. You could just pick apart what he said and call BS on all of it. Totally up to you. Yeah, so go ahead and journal.
It's interesting. We may not even need.
I know.